The simple truth is that we human beings have been created and designed to know something when we consistently do it. Okay, so if I consistently brush my teeth, it becomes a habit. Just the way it is a habit right now. I always brush my teeth, you always brush your teeth. Okay, so if there is something we are very sure of that we have the ability to do, is to know something by consistently doing it. Okay, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because a lot of people will rather take time to watch a series from beginning to the end than take time to watch a video to actually really understand it and understand the process in the way where they create it. And they will create, when they want to recreate something, they will create it and it will come out perfectly. A lot of people don't give, they don't give in that time to pay attention, and that is the problem. That is why you are yet to know how to sew. That is why you are yet to be sure of yourself when it comes to sewing. Now, to me, I'm saying this from experience because I was in that position where I was still a beginner, but I just wanted to be doing all things at the same time. Like, I wanted to be able to do all styles. I did not take my time to really understand this particular style before I move to the next style, before I move to the next style. What I mean, I did not take my time to understand how to draft out the basic bodies fully. I enter skirts. I did not take time to understand skirts, where I just knew that if I see them, if I even watch videos as they do, I will understand them. I go do and I go. I did not take time to understand these processes, like, so that I can be able to have this good and strong foundation that when I look at a style on my own, just from knowing the basic bodies, from knowing the basic skirts, the basic top, I can be able to recreate that out just from looking at it. Do you get my gist? You will rather take time, watch. Let me use this your Big Brother that is happening right now. You rather take time and watch Big Brother from the time of entry into the house to the time of the final or grand finale, whatever you guys call it, than take time to watch a video to understand the process. But anyways, if you don't want to understand and you want sharp way into understanding the skills that you so dearly want to know, now is your business. But yeah, welcome to the channel. My name is Vivian, and today's video, I took my time to create two skirts, like sew to skirt. This is a sewing video, sewing version. I took my time to sew two skirts from a pattern. Now, I have drafted out the pattern before, and the name of that video was the hip allocation pattern. Okay, I said I perfected my skirt making by doing the hip allocation. So after using an Ankara fabric to sew the pattern, when I created it, the videos are available. I'll show you the thumbnails in case you want to go and watch. I would advise you to actually watch to really understand it. Okay, to me, I feel like it's the process, like from the pattern drafting to the sewing, and to this point here where we are using the one pattern to sew two different types of skirts. I feel like if you follow it like that, you will really understand it, and you are going to perfect your skirt making, in the sense where when you're trying to create anything that involves skirt or dress that has the base, the lower part of the body involved, it is going to come out perfect. Okay, that is my dream. Like, this is the dream that I'm living right now, the dream of being able to make a perfect skirt. Okay, so once I was done creating that pattern and the sewing version, I said I was going to recreate two skirts from the pattern. Okay, because I want to know if it works on all fabric. I used Ankara the first time, and on this video here I'll be using two different types of crepe, one stretchy and one not so stretchy. And I want to use that same pattern, just the same way I sewed the Ankara. I'll sew this one and I will see the results. Okay, so I just want to be sure that I have the perfect skirt pattern before I move into my trouser series. Okay, because I've done the basic bodies and I understand my basic bodies well, and I understand everything about it and the that, and now I am onto skirts. And once I'm done with this, I've done the dress. Like, dress came out so well, like the bodycon dress, and the skirts now I did the same thing, and you guys, I love the result. Two different crepe gave me these two different results, and I actually adjusted the pattern so that I could just have, like, because the first one was different, the second one I'm going to be sewing now is a little bit different because it's longer, and the third one has side slits. Okay, so I just want to know that this pattern works well, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so to make sure the pattern works well and to really have this strong foundation that, okay, yes, we know how to draft out a skirt pattern and to come out beautiful anyhow, any way we want to sew it. Okay, so yes, another thing I decided to do on this video is take my time to show you how to attach two different type of zip. You guys have been saying that you have issues attaching zip. I've seen so many comments that talked about zip and how they have problem attaching zip. I have been on that point too, where I had problem attaching zip to my skirt, and not until I started to take it slow and really understand the process from watching one video on YouTube And that is how I am able to sew my zip, no matter what kind of zip I'm using. Now, I've not done a video where I show you guys how to do invisible zip. On this video, I'm showing you how to use two different type of zip, the longer zip and the shorter zip. How to use that, see my words, how to attach the longer zip and the shorter zip. If you have been having problem attaching a zip to your skirt, either the longer one or the shorter one, I am here to tell you that you have that issue no more. So if you are patient enough to watch the first sewing version of the longer skirt with the back zip and then the second one with the side slits, you are going to watch me attach two different type of zip to those skirts, okay? And in watching it, I am very sure that you're going to understand it perfectly how to attach zip. You're not going to have that problem anymore, okay? So we're going to be tracing that issues today on this video. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're seeing my channel for the first time. I already mentioned my name. I introduced myself. My name is Vivian. And yeah, like this video if you find it of any help. And let's go ahead and create this skirt. Okay. It is very important you go look for this particular video where I drafted out the pattern for the hip allocation method. It is on my channel, my page. Just go search and watch this particular video to get to understand how to actually draft out the pattern. And please try to pay attention so that you just don't see or just know it, you understand the process, okay? So that you can be able to create it at any time without watching my videos. So I really explained the steps, I broke it down in details, okay? So I did all the illustrations that you need to know about skirts and how we're able to achieve this particular perfect fit, okay? So please go watch that particular video, okay? And please go ahead and grab your pattern. If you have watched the video, grab your pattern and let's sew these two different skirts using this pattern, okay? The first skirt I'll be making is the red one, of course, and for this I already went ahead to fold my fabric into two. As you can see here, I have my fabric folded into two. Charlie, please fold your fabric into two. It is necessary, okay? The pattern we're cutting, we drafted out for one side, and when we place that pattern on the folded fabric, we get two sides, okay? So fold your fabric and also iron the close edge so that you have like a very flat surface there, okay? And then grab your pattern paper and place it on your fabric, okay? This is my front pattern and I'm placing it, or it's already placed on my fabric. I am going ahead to pin this before I cut. After I'm done pinning this, I'm going to be adding to the length, okay? If you watch the video of the pattern drafting, you know that this particular pattern is for a mid-length skirt, but for the red one I'm about to sew, of course you saw the video, the after look, it's a long skirt, okay? I want it to get to my feet, so I'm adding 6 inches to my previous measurements, okay? 6 inches. I showed you guys 5 on the video here, but I ended up using 6 inches. So what I'm practically doing here is just adding to the length. So whatever length you want your skirt to be, go ahead and achieve that length, okay? So I have videos on how to take body measurements. You should have seen that already, and you should already know how to take a body measurement, so you will know where you want your skirt to sit. Make sure you know the length you want, okay? If you want a long length like me, do what I did. If you want a shorter length, just go ahead and achieve a shorter length. Now if you notice what I'm doing right now as I'm cutting, I am trying to fold in 1 inch for hemming allowance while I cut, so that it can be easy for me to hem this once I am done sewing, okay? So that is why I folded that part in before I cut the length, okay? And I'm just cutting out the exact thing I have on the pattern paper. The next thing I'm going to do is transfer my dart, and this is how you transfer your darts, guys. It is very simple to transfer your darts from your pattern to your fabric. Okay, please do not ever think it's complicated. Now the first thing I'm going to do is use my chalk to indicate the stop point of my dart. Okay, where my finger is pointing is the stop point. I'm just going to keep pressing that point and use my chalk here to locate the point and mark on my fabric. And now I'll go ahead and trim off the excess I have on the top here before I notch my dart legs. Okay, so I'll trim it off because I don't need it. I actually wanted to leave it for joining, but I was like, no need. So I'm just gonna notch the dart leg here, and with this notch I have here, I can be able to sew my darts when I'm about to sew. Okay, so I'm even transferring the darts to the other side because this is the front piece and it is two sides. Okay, so two sides attached to one side. Like we have a closed edge on the front piece, of course, so it is two sides and I need to locate my darts on the both sides. So this is the second side and this is the wrong side of my fabric, of course. So when I take off the pin, you guys are going to see the result of the front piece. Very easy to cut, right? For those of you that have problem cutting your pattern on your fabric, I hope you understood this step. Let me know in the comment section. So when I open this up, you can see that we have for the two legs, the right leg and the left leg, but then we have a closed edge, and that is the line you're seeing in the middle, which is called the center front. Okay, please go ahead and repeat the same steps for the back piece. I don't want to waste your time too much, so just do what I did here on the front piece, do it on the back piece. But you know the back piece has zip allowance, so you should make sure you cut it and cut out the zip allowance so your back piece is separated into two. So this is my pieces here. This is the front, the dart is notched, my stop point for the darts. Let me indicate it again. So you should have all these things I am showing you right here. And this is my back piece. This is the back pattern. I have transferred my darts, I have notched it. Okay, this is my stop point for the dart on the back, and this is my notch. And let me show you guys what I mean. You should have two pieces, like I said, because the back piece is separated into two because of the zip allowance. Okay, so this is two fabric here. Let me open it. This is two fabric and that is for the back piece. I hope you get. Let's move on. So we're going to be sewing this, and if you pay so much attention to the sewing process, you realize that sewing a skirt is like one of the easiest things to do. Okay, like Charlie, you can sew 5 to 10 skirts a day if you want to, because it's like the easiest thing to do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is sew in the darts. It's a process. Okay, so you have to start by sewing in the darts on your skirts, and make sure you know where the stop point is for your dart, and from the notch you made on the top of your fabric you will locate the stop point, and then you sew just the way I'm going to show you right now. What I'm doing here is sewing on the back piece, one of the back piece. I'm sewing in the darts, and you can see exactly how I'm sewing my dart. Okay, I'm trying to sew in like a triangle. Okay, I started from the wider part of my dart, which is from the notch, and when I get to the stop point I'm just going to go narrow until I'm not sewing anything again. Okay, so I'll tie the extra thread on my dart, and I'll repeat this same step for the other side of the back piece. Remember, it is two pieces for your back. Okay, so I'll sew in the dart so you see what I mean again, in case you are yet to understand what we're doing. If you watch this one and watch the second skirt where I did the slits, the side slits, you will know how to sew skirt forever and ever. Amen. Okay, so this is the second side of the back piece, and I have seen my stop points. I'll hold my notches. I fold them into two equal parts, my notches on the top, and I'm going to sew from the wider side down to the stop point of my dart. Okay, and sew in like a triangle shape, which the wider part, which is the top part of the skirt, is the wider part, and the stop point is the narrower part. I mean the narrow part. Okay, so I am done with the darts. I also sewed in the darts on the front piece, but I'll be doing that off the camera. I'll do the exact thing I did on the back. And let's go into sewing the back piece together by 1 inch on the zip side. So I grabbed the two back pieces together. I'll place them right side facing right side because I have to sew on the wrong side of the fabric, and I'm going to be sewing on the zip side where I'm going to be attaching the zip. I'm going to be sewing that side by 1 inch from the waist to the length, straight down 1 inch. So you should know what 1 inch is, okay? You should. And if you don't know what 1 inch is, go ahead and enroll for my class, okay? Because I am about to, go into an intensive class of, telling you guys everything you need to know, the basic foundation you need to know about sewing, so that you can never have any problem when it comes to, sewing a simple outfit for yourself, okay? You can get all the rules right. I had problem when I was learning because I did not have the opportunity to know these things, but now I am bringing them to you, okay? So you never have problem like me. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to be sewing the front and the back piece together by 1 inch, or sorry, half an inch by the side. Okay, so at this point here, you know what you left as your allowance on your pattern paper, and in case you left while you were cutting your pattern paper on your fabric, go ahead and sew in that particular allowance, okay? Whatever you leave as your allowance for sewing, when you're sewing your fabric, sew that allowance in so that you can get your perfect fit, okay? And that's what I'm doing here. I'm sewing in the exact allowance I left for my sewing, and I'm taking everything in. I'll repeat it on this other side. So I just did the left side, now I'm doing the right side, or maybe I just did the right side and now I'm doing the left side, but you get right. I'm sewing the second side. We move ahead into marking the stop points for the zip, okay? So that point where we sewed on the back, that straight line we did 1 inch, we're going to go back to that point. We're going to go back to that place, and I'm going to be marking the stop points for my zip, and I'll loosen it up and leave the rest, okay? I'll just mark 8 inches down, and that's going to be my stop point for the zip. I noticed while editing this video that my red fabric here was not too clear, but thank God I did 2 skirts on this video, because the other one was very clear. Everything I did on that particular fabric was clear and everything was visible, okay? So in case you're having trouble seeing this one, watch the second one that is coming next, like immediately after this one. It is in this particular video, and see what I mean. So now we're about to create the band, and I have for the length of my fabric, I cut out 4 inches as the length, and when I fold that 4 inches into 2, I get 2 inches. So here is 2 inches, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and open this up. I went ahead to press this off the camera after folding it into 2, like the 4 inches length. When I folded it into 2, I had to iron it first before I started filming, so that you can see that the next step I do is I'll fold half an inch on each side of the edges. Like I'm folding half an inch here right now. I'll do the same thing on the top part of the band, and I hope you understand what I mean. This band here you're looking at is 4 inches long. That's the length, okay, not how wide it is. The wideness is my round waist plus 5 inches, right? But the length is 4 inches, and then when I fold that 4 inches into 2, I get 2 inches. And now those 2 inches, I'm folding in half an inch and half an inch on both the down and the top, so that I can fold it into 2 equal parts and get a band worth 1.5 inch. Okay, so I'm folding now on the upper part of the band. So what I'm just folding and ironing down is 0.5 inch. And this is practically how I create my band. Okay, there are other ways you can create your band. um there are other ways, okay, but this is like the easiest way you can create your band. And trust me, when I was done, attaching this band to my skirt and I wore it, I did not have any problem with the skirt. Like, the band sat very, very well on my waist and everything was good. Okay, so yeah, this is the easier way for a beginner to learn how to create a band. Now, once I was done folding a half an inch on the top and on the base, I folded this into 2 equal parts like I said I was going to do. And now my band is 1.5 inch long, and this is what I'll be using on my skirt. Okay, on the waist, this is what I'll be attaching to it. So like I'm saying, or like I was saying, I was trying to tell you guys, like, I have like an intensive class coming up on just knowing everything you need to know, the basic foundation you need to know on sewing. Okay, so if you are still finding it very difficult, trust me, 1 week or 2 weeks with me, you will know exactly what you need to know about sewing. Like, this is, I am not bragging. At this point, I am very sure of what I can impact on you. Okay, so let's go ahead and sew the band to the skirt. This is going to be easy. Remember the stop points we indicated on the zip side? I went ahead to use my seam ripper to open it up, and now we can attach the band. Now remember, we folded in half an inch on the top of the band and on the base of the band. Now that place we ironed is where we are going to use to sew the band. Okay, so you can see me opening one side of the half an inch, and I'm placing this on my skirt, like on the waist, and leaving half an inch or 0.5 inch before I start attaching my band to the skirt. Okay, you can see that I left out 0.75 worth of fabric out, and please do the same thing because we need this to turn this band later. Okay, we need it to turn the band later on the waist. Okay, so leave out 0.75 before you start sewing your band to the skirt. And when you're sewing the band to the skirt, make sure you sew on the half an inch line. You know, that is why we ironed, because once you iron a fabric, you always get like a grease line. Like, you're going to get a line that indicates that this part has been ironed, especially when you fold in something, like you fold something into two, or you just fold something. That part where you folded, if you iron it, you're going to get like a crease line or a ghetto line. Like, you're just going to get a line telling you that this is where you just ironed though. Okay, so that is where I'm sewing. I'm following that line. It is very easy to sew on the line where you have ironed it. Okay, and it's just going to make your work very easy. So once I was done sewing the first half an inch on the skirt, and I sewed this on the wrong side of my fabric. Okay, the wrong side of my skirt fabric, that is where I sewed the first half an inch. Now I'm going to flip this to the right side, and I'm going to top stitch on my skirt. Okay, so the first sewing, you can see it is on the wrong side. This is the wrong side. Okay, this is the wrong side, and this is the right side. So we're going to be top stitching this band on the right side of the skirt. This is the right side of the skirt, so we're going to top stitch. But before then, we need to close that 0.75. That is why we left it. Okay, we have to fold this like this. Watch. Fold this into 2 backwards. Okay, so fold it backwards like this, and sew by half an inch on that 0.75 fabric we left out before sewing the band to the skirt. Sew 0.5 inch of it in, leaving only quarter an inch. Okay, so just sew 0.5, trim out if you need to trim out, and then we're going to turn this like this back to the right side, and you're going to see the look or the finish it gives the band. Okay, see? So when I go ahead and top stitch this band like this, it's just going to be clean. Okay, this edge here is going to be clean. Actually, if you learn how to make skirts just the way I am showing you like this, but if you learn this process well, you can be making ready to wear skirts and be selling, and people will never know. Okay, they will never know. Your skirt is just going to be like, oh, I don't know, I keep saying Charlie, but I mean it. Okay, you're going to really love it. You're going to love the outcome, and whosoever is buying from you is going to love it. Okay, so Now I'm going to go ahead and top stitch on my band, and this is happening on the right side of my fabric. You can see how I am taking my time to push everything in before I top stitch. Okay, I'm pushing all the sewing, all the joining, everything that I have into the band, and I'm just going to top stitch. So I was telling you guys about my intensive class, right? So why I am very sure that 1 week with me you're going to learn a lot is because I actually did a practical where I taught a 14 years old girl, my cousin. She came to visit, and I decided to use the outline I have created, the way I've created my course. I decided to teach her. And guess what? In less than, let me not say 1 week, in less than 5 days, my cousin was able to draft out a basic bodice, like a simple basic bodice without that. She was able to do it, like as in, I kid you not. Okay, so in less than 5 days she was able to draft out a basic bodice, and she was able to match a sewing machine. So me trying this out on a 40 years old girl and it worked. I feel like no matter who you are, your age, no matter who you are, where you're from, if we go into class together, you are going to understand it. Okay, so let me know what you think. If you're interested, on the comment section you can let me know, or you can just let me know in the comment section. I will send you a link that you will click on and find me. But anyways, expect a video on how I'm going to be explaining why you need to enroll for my classes. And yeah, I'm just going to make a video to talk to you guys about it. Okay, so just expect a video on that. Now, once I was done attaching my band to the skirt, it is time for me to iron this out. If you're a beginner, please do get an iron. Like, you need it. Trust me, I can never emphasize on this too much. Like, you need iron. It is going to make your work easier. Like, when you keep ironing before sewing, and sewing after you sew, you iron, you sew, you iron, it's going to really make your work easier. Okay, so just do that. Try to iron while you sew. So what I'm about to do here is I'm going to iron that part where I need to attach my zip, because I need that line, that crease line, to be visible, because that's the line I'm going to use to sew the zip. Like, when I'm sewing my zip to the skirt, I'm going to be following that line from the ironing. So I really need to iron this part out so I can have that crease line. And if you look very well on my fabric, you can see that the edges or the sides, everything on my fabric here is weaved already. I went ahead to weave it so I can have like clean edges. Okay, so that is what you're seeing. Okay, so you can see that it's already looking like a ready-made skirt. Anyway, the next thing I need to do now is I'm going to be attaching my zip to the parts that I have left for the zip, and I'm showing you guys that you need to mark out 1 inch. Okay, this is the wrong side of my zip, and this is the right side of my zip. Okay, this is the main teeth. This, you can see the teeth of the zip. So from the wrong side, I am placing my zip, and I am going to mark 1 inch from the base of my zip upwards, and that 1 inch is what I'm going to use to sew. Like, it's going to be like my guide. Okay, so I'll grab my chalk, use my tape. From the base of my zip, I'll mark 1 inch. And now that 1 inch, I'll use that 1 inch and place on the stop point of my zip. Okay, where I have indicated as my stop point, I'll place the 1 inch there. So it means that I have 1 inch extra sitting below my stop point. Okay, the stop point of my zip, I have 1 inch sitting below it, and from that 1 inch, I'm going to place it on the stop point, and I'll start sewing the zip. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to that point, do it again, trying to get comfortable with the fabric so I can sew directly after I show you guys. So, and again, I'll go ahead and place the zip. You see, I'm showing you guys that line, that crease line is what I'm going to put at the teeth of the zip. Okay, so when I'm sewing my zip, that crease line, that ghetto line, that ironing line will sit at the teeth. Okay, close to the teeth of the zip, like very, very close to the teeth of the zip. So I'll just hold on to my zip and my fabric. I'll place this on my machine and I'll start sewing. And before I sew, I'll show you guys how close my teeth, like how close the teeth of my zip is sitting to the ghetto line. Okay, see what I mean here. So take a look at this. Is the zip on the fabric. This is my zip and this is it on the fabric. Now you can see where my needle is sitting. It is sitting very, very close to the teeth of the zip, right? And this is the wrong side of the zip. So if I raise it up like this, you can see it is very, very close to the teeth of the zip. And when we're sewing, we're going to follow this line. Okay, we're going to follow this line from the iron. You can see the line from the ironing. So that's what I'm going to follow. And so if you follow that line and you make sure that the teeth of your zip is sitting on that line, directly on that line, you are going to have like a very, very neat finish zip. Like your zip is going to be like neatly finished, trust me. So I am done sewing to one side. I'll go back and do the same thing on the other side. So I'll just flip it, see, flip it to a comfortable position so I can sew. And once I am about to sew, I will still confirm if my zip is sitting on that crease line, that line I got from the ironing. See the line? I'll place it very close to the teeth of my zip, and now I can sew. So one very good thing about this particular video here is the fact that there is no way you will watch this video, this part that I just finished doing, like this particular red skirt, and you watch the next one that is coming, like the one with the side slits. There is no way you will not know how to sew a skirt. Like without watching my video again in your life, you will know how to sew a skirt. Now this is one thing that has been proven, and I feel like everybody should know this. Like we should all know this because we live by this every day. We live by all these things I'm about to say every day. When you do something consistently, it becomes a part of you. Okay, it is not magic, it is who we are. Okay, so if you watch my video, you watch the pattern drafting, you watch the one I sew the Ankara, you watch this particular one, you watch the next one. See, you sis, if you don't know how to sew a skirt, please, you have to go to the village and ask who is sitting on your picture. You will definitely know how to sew your skirt from start to finish. Okay, from the drafting to the cutting to the joining to the band to the attaching of the zip and the hemming. That is the honest truth. Okay, so I am so glad that I have like a lot of videos that shows you my process, and I just hope that you take your time and pay attention to my process. And trust me, you won't be watching it for long. Okay, once you've watched, like, follow the whole process well, it's just going to be a part of you, and you don't even need to watch nobody's video to be able to create a skirt. So what I'm doing now is I cut out the excess of the zip because this is a long zip, and now I put it into my zip allowance, and I'm just going to sew on top of it like this, and this is just going to give me the clean finishing I need on my zip. Okay, on the topper part of my zip, or on the waist, or on the band part of my zip. I hope that made sense. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll fold in the excess of my zip. I left just 1 inch excess of the zip. When I cut it out, I left just 1 inch. So I'll fold it in like this. Watch. I'll fold it in like this. I use my teeth to press it. Yes, my sister, my teeth. And now I'm going to fold it into my allowance, and I'll just stop stitch on the right side of it on top. And this is going to give that clean finishing I want. Okay, that ready-made finishing that I want on my skirts. Okay, and this is practically how I created the long skirts with the back slits. We're just going to go into the last part of this video, which is the hemming. See how clean it looks, right? Like the video. So this is what I did. I went ahead to hem the base of my skirt and also hem the slit side. And before hemming, like I said, I showed you guys where I have already hemmed. When I mean hem, I've already weaved my fabric. Like I weaved every part of the skirt, the side, the slit, the zip side, the length. It is all weaved or wooved. I've weaved it. Okay, so now all I have to do is use my hemming gum and just, you know, glue the slit fabric to the skirt. Okay, just glue it so it doesn't move. I'm just going to press it down with my hot iron, and it's just going to stick to each other. Okay, both fabric is just going to stick, and that is how I created the slit on this skirt. Okay, the back slit on my long skirt. This is how I did it. Now this skirt came out beautifully. You guys saw the video, you saw my after look. Okay, I decided to show you guys the after look on the intro because I want you to know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, you're about to sew a skirt, a long skirt for your client. You should know what it's going to look like when you're done. When you follow my process, when you're done, I want you to really know what it looks like before you start sewing, so that you know that if this is the finished result you want. If it's not the finished result you want, there are other videos you could watch. Okay, so done with the red skirt, let's move on to making the skirt with the slits, the side slits. Okay, so we are back to the first process, which is to fold your fabric into two and then place your pattern. I had to iron this out because I need that ghetto line or that crease line that is going to give to the center front. I need that line, so I'm just going to iron so everything lays flat, and I'll place my pattern on the fabric. I'm going to, of course, pin this so it does not move while I adjust my pattern. I'm going to be adjusting this particular skirt pattern to, you know, get the look I want on my second skirt, my third skirt. So we're going to be adjusting it. The adjustment is really easy. So to adjust, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be marking what I have on my hip on the length. Okay, so I'll just take my ruler, and what I have, the measurement I have on the hip is what I will take straight down to the length of the skirt. And you guys, the length of the skirt is the whole full fabric I have here. Okay, so the length of this particular skirt is the full fabric I have here. So I'm just going to start from the hip. You can see what I'm doing with my chalk from the hip. I'm just going to mark this straight down to the length. Okay, that is the adjustment. So what I'm trying to do here is I don't want it to be pencil like the red skirt we just finished making. The red skirt is really pencil at the length. I don't want that pencil. I want this to be a little bit free at the length, and that is what I just did here. I went ahead to take the hip measurement and mark this on the length, and that is it. That was the adjustment. And now I'm cutting out my fabric. So we're not going to be doing a lot of things. Like, I'm just going to show you guys the second way you can attach your zip, or the second using this different zip, which is like the smaller zip, and I think that's the only difference. And then the slit, but apart from that, every other thing is the same. Transferring your dart, you have to notch the dart leg, and also use your chalk or your pin or whatever you have to indicate the stop point of your dart. Okay, so I'm holding on to my dart stop point, and I will indicate this here on the fabric. And then take off my pins so I can transfer the dart to the other side of the fabric. Okay, just the same way we did when we're making the red. Transfer these darts to this other side because the fabric is folded into two. So this is my front piece, and you can see that line in the middle, that straight line. So repeat the same step for the back pattern, just the same way we cut out for the front. You should have your back like this. Okay, this is my back piece, and you can see that it is separated into two because of the zip we have at the back. Next is sewing the darts. Okay, so like it's a process. That is why I said if you watch the first one and you're watching the second one, you will understand that this thing is a process that cannot be, it's just a step. Okay, once you understand what the step is, how you need to take it, it's just going to be a part of you. So what I'm doing is sewing in my darts, and you can see that to sew in my darts, I'll fold the dart leg where I have my notches, I'll fold that into two, and then I'll just hold on to my stop point, and I'll sew and make my way to the stop point. Okay, from the top part my waist to the stop point. That's what I did. And then I moved on to joining the front and the back piece together. Sorry that we're rushing it, but this is the same step we just took for the red skirt. Okay, so I just want to show you guys how to attach the shorter zip. Okay, that is the essence of this particular second skirt. And for the fact that it is actually really clearer than the red one was just too dim and too dark. The thread was not showing, the sewing was not really, but for this one I think I can see some things clearly. I don't know if it's my eyes, but please let me know. Some things are clearer than the red. Okay, so I'm just going to sew the sides just the same way we did on the red skirt. I'm sewing the sides by the allowance I left on my pattern, and that is it. And okay, I want to show you guys again how to create your band in case you did not understand the first video or the first method or the first one I just showed you. While I was creating my band, I cut out my round waist plus extra 5 inches added to that. Okay, so my round waist is 30 plus extra 5 inches added is 35. I cut out, that's the width of the fabric, right? And then for the length, I cut out 4 inches of length. I went ahead to fold that 4 inches by 2 into 2 equal parts, and I got 2 inches as length now after it was folded into 2. And from the 2 inches I have on the top and on the down, I am folding half an inch on also the top and on the down side. Okay, so the half an inch for the top part is done, and I'm here on the down side of my band still folding in the 0.5 inch. And once this is done, we're going to fold this band again back to 2 equal parts, and we're going to get a length of 1.5 inch as a band for the skirt, just the same way I did for the red one. Okay, so by now you are hearing me explain this for the second time. You should be able to understand what I mean. So I folded it into 2 equal parts here, and this creates a band for us. Now you can use this kind of band to create your skirts, trouser. You can use this band to join 2 dresses together. You can just create your band like this. It's very easy, and this is like the beginner way to create a band. And like I said, ironing is your bae. Okay, ironing is going to really save you from a whole lot of mistakes. Okay, so just keep ironing while you sew. So let's sew the band to the skirt. Okay, remember to leave 0.75 inch before joining your band to your skirt. Leave it. Thank God for this fabric, it is clear. So leave 0.75 inch and then start sewing your band to the fabric. Now when you're sewing your band to your skirt fabric, make sure you sew on the crease line that you got from ironing the half an inch. Okay, remember we had half an inch on the top and on the base. We ironed this in while we were creating this band. Sew on those lines that the iron has created. Okay, follow that line. And once you're done, remember to fold the edge of your band into 2, not like this. So this is wrong. Okay, fold it the other way like this, go back like this, and now sew in 0.5. I hope this is clearer and this is very understandable. Okay, when you sew it from the wrong side of the band, you sew in the 0.5, you turn it back to the right side so we can top stitch, and that's just it. Okay, so I just believe you understand now. So what I'm doing now is I am ironing the side where my zip will be sitting. Okay, so this is where I want to attach the zip, and like I said, you need to iron it because you need that line for when you need to attach your zip. You need to see the line, the crease line, or the ghetto line. I don't know what people call it, but I call it the ghetto line, ghetto. But then it's like a crease line. And yeah, you need it for when you need to attach your zip, so you can follow that line and sew your zip. Okay. So really take your time when you're doing this, because you don't want to iron rubbish. So let's go ahead and sew the zip to the skirt, okay, to the zip side of our allowance, or to the allowance of the for the zip. Anyway, this is my short zip here, and on the short zip I'm going to be leaving 0.5 inch from the base of the zip first before I start sewing. Remember, on the long zip I left 1 inch, but for the short one I am going to be leaving only 0.5 inch before I start sewing the zip from the base of my skirt to the top or to the waist. I really don't know why people think that sewing does not really take time, or sewing does not require energy. Now that is where I actually disagree with people. Sewing is can be easy, of course it can be easy, but no matter what you're sewing, it actually takes time and effort, okay, because it is not easy for you to draft and then cut and then sew. And while you're sewing, sometimes when you sew, you don't even do the finishing. You have to finish sewing and then probably weave before you start doing the finishing of the dress. So sewing really requires time and energy, and I feel like people should start recognizing that fact and start including that's when they when they try to pay us for their outfit, they should start seeing it as, okay, I'm not just paying for this outfit, I am paying for this person time and energy. Because girl, a whole lot of energy goes down when we create outfits, okay. I know, I see you, girl, I see your effort, and I pray God will reward you. So I'm done sewing this side, and you can see how close I sewed the zip, okay. It is very close to the line, very very close, if not on the line self. And now I'm going to sew this other side. I went ahead to zip it down so it can be easy for me to sew. And remember to follow the line, okay. The crease line is where we are following, okay. So remember to follow the crease line. For a lot of you that have been telling me you have problem with zip, okay, if you watch the red skirt and you're watching this one now, you should not have any problem. It is a pretty simple step. Iron that side that your zip needs to sit, iron it. You need that line. And when you're sewing your zip, that tip of the zip, there is a space there that you can put your needle and sew that space, sew it to the line that you have created on your skirt. And trust me, it is going to be clean, and it's going to be tight, and it's going to be neat. You don't even need to sew it once to get it right. You can sew the first one. If it's not close to the teeth, you can come back again and do like a second stitch or even third stitch, okay. No matter how many stitches it takes you to get very close to the teeth, please take that stitch, take it. But please don't go sew like 5 stitches on one side. Just make sure you get very close to the teeth of the zip and sew on the line that you have created while ironing, and you're good. Okay, see what I'm showing you. So I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and zip this down so I can fold the extra zip allowance into my band and top stitch. Okay, so this is how I am going to top stitch on top here, and I am done. Okay, so once I am done with this zip side, the next thing I'm going to do is hem. And thank you so much, Amazing Creative. I know it has been long I called you guys this name. I miss you guys so much. You don't know, like, I miss you guys so much. But girl, I need to take care of myself. Like, I need to take care of my mental state, my every state. And I need to just take it slow, slow and steady, create everything I want to create at my own pace. I do not want to exhaust myself. And why I'm actually taking this time, I'm making more research and I'm gaining a whole lot of knowledge. when I keep saying this knowledge thing, like it is overwhelming sometimes when I think about the things that I have learned, like just resting, like just being there, not sewing. I am learning so much. Like I have so much information to share with you guys. So many informations that I don't even know if I should include that in my online classes, or I should just come here on YouTube and make videos. Like I'm confused, but just know that I have so much to teach you. I have so much to share with you to make your sewing journey very easy. And I just pray that you're patient enough to stick around and hear all the things that I have to say, so that you cannot miss out, or you should not miss out on this beautiful information I'm about to share. Okay, I pray that you're patient enough. Okay, so thank you again for watching Amazing Creatives. I love you guys so much. I care about your journey and I want you to do better in your journey, and I hope we both grow together. Okay, so I'll be seeing you guys on my next video. I'm always excited to share my next video with you guys, so expect my next video and expect me to be so excited to share it with you. Okay, so yeah, thank you for watching. Bye for now. Bye bye. Bye.